Oh, okay. I don't know why I started like that. But hello, guys. It is Sabria, as you know. I am here in Seattle, and as you can see by the title of this video, I made a very big decision, and that's what I'm going to be unfolding in this video. So yeah, I wanted to just I always really enjoyed watching videos on like people's experience moving out on their own, just being realistic about prices and just the overall experience of moving your stuff, moving yourself, just the whole experience. So I thought I would add to that discussion, I guess. If I'm looking over to the left, it's because I have a Word document that just gives me kind of an outline of how I'm gonna like map my thoughts. So the first part of this video is gonna be, why am I moving to Seattle? So this is part one. And basically, I moved to Virginia in August of 2020. When I got there, I was applying to jobs. I ended up getting a part-time job at Old Navy, and I was working there, and I was still applying, looking for full-time jobs. And eventually I found this job, photographer for the Space Needle, and I applied for it because I just thought, you know, like I needed to just apply. I just wanted to put my feelers out just to see like what I could get, what I was getting. Long story short, I got the job. So they offered me the job on I think April 16th, something around there, and they were saying they were asking when could I come by, and the date May 19th came around, and at that point I was just like, I thought, oh yeah, like that's doable, I can do that, that's fine. But like looking back, I'm like, wow, that is a month and 3 days. But you know, I wanted to see what this opportunity would bring, so I said yes, and I accepted the offer. So that takes us to part two, which is, how did I plan this cross-country move? So basically all of my plans were centered around the idea of starting my job on the 19th. We have an orientation, I believe, on the 19th. It's currently, the 16th. So I'm like speaking in like, I'm not sure yet because I still have to coordinate a few things with them, but we have an orientation on the 19th. So that's when I knew I needed to get there, get myself situated by that time. So I figured, I was talking to my dad. I was using a lot of counsel for this. Although I did all the like planning and decision making kind of on my own, I used my sister as counsel, my mom as counsel, friends. So like I definitely asked and tried to rationalize the things that I wasn't sure of, asked people who had more experience than me. But I thought it'd be a good idea to get an Airbnb just so that I didn't have to worry about having a place to stay when I got out there. So I'm gonna be staying at this Airbnb for a month. You see one little section of it. And from there, I kind of just needed to do some virtual apartment shopping. I can put on the screen like a list of a few that I was looking at, that just kind of what my list consisted of. It was mostly considering like the distance to work, the Space Needle, and how much, the square footage and stuff like that. So I had a top 10. I made a list of a top 10. I gave them all their criteria, and then that's when I narrowed it down to about 3. And that's when I decided to apply to the one that I'm talking to you about now. And so I've been putting my application in for that. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I did not get approved at first, even though I have very good credit. My income, your income has to be, I think they said at least 2.5 times the amount of rent. And what I was looking at was the apartment would be, $11.18, and mine, that's not including utilities yet. And I will be making $16.69 an hour for 40 hours a week. So it's gonna be like bringing in around $2,100 from that job. Based off of the income, I didn't qualify, so I had to use a guarantor. I'm actually still in the process of getting that right now. Hopefully in future videos you'll see that apartment, and that's the one that I get. But if it's not, then you guys will see a completely different one that I have planned, but that I have lined up. But yeah, so that was the next step, was just the virtual apartment hunting, trying to figure out what I wanted. And then after I kind of had that squared away, I had to figure out what I was gonna do with my stuff and my car. So I started just packing stuff in boxes. Honestly, it was harder. This move was harder than other moves for me because I wasn't just moving myself, like I was moving my car and all my belongings. So immediately I wanted to drive my car back cross country. I was talking to my family about it and they were like, no, like that's not safe. And like, yeah, probably wouldn't have been, but at least it was something that was like in my control, like something that like I was able to keep track of and I was able to manage. Whereas I tried going with a car shipping company, and so basically there are the brokers and there are the carriers. The brokers are the ones that you mainly is your first point of communication, and there's the ones who are supposed to give you the quote and what they think that they can get you. And then once you sign up with them, they send your information out into a database so that you can get a carrier who will then send their own quote, and they will from there they will start scheduling when they can pick it up. So the whole process kind of confused me a bit. I started looking very early on, like end of April, I want to say, beginning of May, and I was under the belief that I kind of had a little bit of time to go through things. But on April 21st, I found, after doing a little bit of research and making another list, I found a company that I thought I would be able to go with called Yellowfin Logistics. And no, I tried communicating with them, and they took a deposit, which I didn't realize was like red flag number one. But they took a deposit before they got the carrier, and she said that she would be able to find like my first. Okay, so first I moved on the 15th. I guess I should have mentioned that. I moved on the 15th, so I was planning on having my car shipped on that week, because I went to on the 10th of May, I went out to Pennsylvania to visit my mom before I took my flight on the 15th to Seattle. So I wanted my car to be picked up somewhere in between that time of the 10th and the 13th. And the 14th. So when I first was working with the Yellowfin Logistics, she said that she would be able to get me a carrier by the week of the 10th. And I felt really unsure about that because I didn't want to be kind of in a last minute situation, like they find something last minute and they up the price too much and I don't really have a way out because I need their service. So I didn't want to be in that situation. So I was like, no, I don't think I want to do this. Like I want to cancel. So I tried to get my deposit back and cancel the services, and they completely ghosted me. I called multiple times, emailed, and no one ever got back to me. So I had to go to my bank and do a dispute claim so that I could get my money back. And I moved on to another company that my friend recommended because her friend is also moving to Seattle. So I went up with them, and they seemed very reputable. They seemed legit, and they don't take a deposit. They only take a deposit, or they only take a payment when they found a carrier and you've signed and you've agreed and you've signed for the quote. So for them, I had an initial quote of like $10.79, I want to say, but she said that there's a high chance that it would go up based on the time that I reached out to her and the time that I needed it. I think I reached out to her on the 6th, or about the 6th of May is when my information was put out to find a carrier. So from there, I was just kind of waiting. I knew the quote could go up. Also for the Yellowfin Logistics, their quote was around $1,247, something around there, $1,200. It's either gonna range from like $1,200 to like $1,500 was kind of what I thought that it would be. But so when I was working with Amerifreight, I had my agent, and basically from the 6th up until the 14th, I was just kind of sitting there waiting for correspondence of whether I was going to get a carrier or not. So it wasn't until the 14th of May that my agent reached out to me and said, look, we have a carrier, but it's a considerable amount over the initial quote that we thought. So she told me that the new quote that the carrier was bringing to me was going to be $23.98. So well over double what she thought was going to be the initial quote. But like I said, I didn't want to be caught up in that position, but it was last minute. I didn't really have any other options because no one would be able to give me a carrier quick enough. So I kind of had no choice but to say, okay, bite the bullet. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. So there was a way you can do partial payment. I didn't want to do it all full, so it was partial payment. So you can do, I paid $398 as the deposit, and then the $2,000 was going to be paid when the car was delivered. So I paid the $398, and she told me that the carriers would be there to pick up my car at around 3. So I get home at 3, no one's there. 3:30 rolls around, nothing. 4 rolls around, and I think around 4 or 4:15 is when I reach out to my agent and ask, like, oh, didn't you say that they were coming at around 3? And she said, yes, let me reach out to them. And then that's when she heard that they said that they would be coming at around 5:30. And from that phone call, she gave me their contact so that I could reach out to them and correspond with them on what time they would be coming. So 5:30 rolled around, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, my car is gonna get picked up, and 5:30 well goes, and I messaged them. Let's see, which one? I kept all of my receipts so that when I dispute the claim again, I have everything. So I reached out to them at, oh, okay, yes, so sorry, I'm thinking. So after 5:30 came around, that's when I reached out to them again saying, hey, this is Sabria. You guys are supposed to be picking up my 2009 Chevy Cobalt. Is there a new time of arrival that you have for me? And they said that they would be there by 7:30. So I was like, okay, this is like the third time frame that I'm supposed to expect your arrival. So I'm just kind of getting a little annoyed and anxious. And basically 7:30 comes and 7:30 goes, and I asked, do you have a new time of arrival? And then they said, then someone called me from another number, and they said that we'll be there in 2 to 3 hours. So at that point, it was around 8 o'clock. I had a flight to prepare for the next day. I still had errands to run the day of my flight. So I was just kind of like, I was tired, I was ready to go to sleep, but I couldn't because I was still waiting for them. So at around 10:30, that's when I was just kind of like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. Like, at this point, if they're gonna be this unreliable, I don't know if I want to send my car with them. Also, the name of their company, I'm gonna put it out there right now, is Fleet Star Inc. It was just ridiculous. Anyways, we gave them the opportunity to get there by around 11:15, but at that point, it was just kind of like, it's late, I'm tired, I don't want to do this. I looked at their reviews, and their reviews weren't very good, so I was just like, I don't think I want to do this. So I called and I tried to cancel with them, and they were like, oh, we're here. And I said, no, I don't want your services any longer. And they were really relentless. They were just like, oh, like, we can ship your car, we can get you a voucher, we can do it in the morning. They were making a lot of excuses as, oh, like, the truck broke down, we had to bring another one, the customers and stuff like that. And to be honest, if they had relayed that information to me at the time that it happened, I think I would have still continued. The fact that every single time that they missed their time frame, I was the one who had to call them and reach out and ask, hey, where are you, was the part where I felt like the line of professionalism was just like not there. Because if you're the one providing the service to me and I'm the one about to pay you for that, if you're running late, that's something that you pick up the phone and say, hi, so-and-so, I know that we're on our way to pick up your car, but this happened. So you should be telling me whenever you haven't come at your allotted time, because, like, I don't know, I'm just sitting here waiting. So you should be telling me when these obstacles arise so that I know what I'm up against. You don't just tell me at the last minute after I've called you multiple times trying to get this new time of arrival. So at that point I was pretty frustrated, and I was just like, no, I don't want your service, I don't want to ship my car with you. And they just kept saying, no, you should do it. And so they call me again, they reach out to me again in the morning, and they're like, oh, can we come get your car now? And I said, no, I would like to cancel your service. And they kept saying, the car is not going to make it to California, you're going to spend more money and more time, let us get it now, that would be faster and cheaper. And I had at this point told them over 6 times, I don't want your service any longer. and my car is in decent condition, and I'm 100% confident that Toby will make it back to California. So yeah, that was my experience trying to ship this car. It was really frustrating because basically the baseline for most places is that you can ship up to 100 pounds in your car. And I was looking to get a good amount of my stuff to me in the car, because it was going to end up with my dad, so my dad was going to drive it to me. So I had my piano keyboard, my comforter, my stuffed animals, my babies, and I had just other little miscellaneous things that I needed, but I couldn't take with me on the plane. So basically, the only thing I brought with me is my electronics and my clothes. That's the only thing that I brought with me. That's the only thing I really could bring, because you're flying, so there's not much else. So that's kind of how the planning process went. It was pretty fast and just long. Yeah, so that's kind of how I planned it out. Next, we have part 3, which is show me the money. How much did moving to Seattle cost me? So basically, I'm sorry, I don't really feel like getting the actual receipts, but I had to ship out 3 boxes to my dad's, so that, well, the original plan was once he got my car, he would load up the car with more stuff and then drive that to me. So I sent him 3 boxes of just clothes, books, random stuff that I wanted to keep with me. And that cost $130 shipping those three boxes. And then I needed to ship 2 more boxes from my mom's house, and those together cost another $120 around there. So I ended up spending around $250 to $270, probably a little less, on just shipping boxes to where they needed to be. And then with the car, I would have spent around $1,100 to, well, potentially $2,400 shipping the car. And then for the Airbnb, this Airbnb was, I will give you the exact price. This Airbnb for 30 nights cost me $36.21. So $3,600. I'm not even gonna lie, it's a lot. It's a lot for an Airbnb. It's a lot in general. So since I wouldn't have my car for a while, I figured it would be best to get somewhere that's good walking distance from just about anything I need, grocery store, the Space Needle, anything like that. So it was something I kind of really had to do. So I decided to go with this one because it was comfortable, and also because I was supposed to be moving with my cousin, so it would have been big enough for both of us. So that's kind of what I spent coming for here. And then, like I mentioned with the apartment, I already spent $48 on the application fee. And then once I get approved, the monthly rent is going to be $1,118, and that's going to be for a 420 square foot studio. And in addition to that, I'll have utilities, and it says on the little email that the utilities combined will range from at least $100 to $200. So I'll be spending around $1,300 a month just towards rent and utilities alone. I just want to preface, is I had about $10,000 in savings that I had, and that was I was saving that over time because I wanted to put that towards me moving out. So in using that, I also want to make sure that I don't deplete my savings, because I need to have, if I were to move again, which I'm telling you it's not going to be soon, but if I were to move again, I would need a pool of money to pull from. Yeah, that takes us to our final category, which is part 4, final thoughts. Basically just how do I feel about this move. So I would say I overall am feeling mixed emotions. Moving out on your own is definitely a lot. I don't know if I can confidently say how I feel, because it's literally just the second day of me being here, first full day. And so far, it felt really weird waking up and not have someone else like on this trip with me, because usually when I'm traveling, like I'm traveling with someone and we all have like an itinerary, but it's weird waking up in a place and like there's no plan, there's no itinerary, like it's up to you, you decide, like you do it on your own. And that's been really strange. But waking up and like talking to my sister on the phone, talking to my cousin, my dad, my mom, it really helped me feel a lot more centered, because even though I'm away, like I still have their support, and that's been really important. So honestly, I'm excited right now, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous and I'm scared because I don't know how work's gonna go. I don't know how it's gonna be with meeting people and stuff like that, and just being in a city completely on your own is quite weird. Like I always think, because I'm someone who's really good at getting themselves locked out of their car. So I keep thinking like if I do that, or if I get myself locked out of my apartment or something, I am screwed. Because like before I would have like my sister maybe to bring me my key or something like that, or at least I'd feel better knowing that I had my sister there, or my dad or my mom. But here it's kind of like I really do have to rely on myself, and I really have to be more conscious of what I'm doing and just of my surroundings and stuff and where I am. Because I mean, even though I did a lot of things on my own in Virginia, I didn't really feel like I needed to have my guard up. But being here on my own, I definitely feel like I do have to have my guard up more of the time. So I've just been kind of settling into that mindset. Okay, and then I have what would I do differently? I would not even attempt to ship my car. If I had to do anything differently so far, I would not even think about shipping my car, because the two instances I had working with a company were just draining. Like it was just an overall not pleasant experience, and I will never consider shipping my car ever again. So I guess what I wish I did differently was I planned a way to get my car here with a road trip more in advance, so that I didn't have to worry about where my stuff was going to be, when it would get here, or anything like that. So I would definitely do that differently. It has been exciting to just kind of go with the flow and do what I want to do, but it's a whole lot of accountability is what I would say. Yeah, it's just a weird feeling, but I'm very excited that I have some people visiting soon, and I'll be going to California soon. So hopefully I will make some friends, and I'm gonna have some vlog content out soon. But hopefully this video was helpful to anyone who is planning on moving out or moving alone. It's definitely a doable thing. I do feel like although I did all the planning and the moving around and the shifting on my own, I did have family and friends for counsel. But at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to be there, so you have to make those decisions for yourself. And you just really, I really encourage, if someone's considering moving out, you just really take a step back and think, what do you want? Because not everyone was really for this move. Like they kind of had their reservations about me coming to a place on my own. And although I had those same reservations, I really wanted to see what I was capable of. I really wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone and see what I could achieve on my own. Like see if I could, because mentally I know this is going to be something, but I really wanted to push myself to see what I could withstand. Yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible. It's possible you might be a little broke, which is okay. We're all a little broke, okay? So I'm honestly just really grateful to even have this be an option for me. I'm really grateful that I've been able to have this opportunity, and I really am. And it's definitely difficult, but I understand how fortunate I am to have this opportunity, and I don't take that lightly. And I'm just kind of just doing my best to do what I can and do me. So yeah, without further ado, that is the end. I really hope it was helpful in some way, but yeah, now I gotta go edit this. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. It honestly means a lot. I'm excited to show you guys everything because I have a feeling it's gonna be fun. So I will see you guys later.